Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to our fourth episode of Wrestle Rewind. Tonight, myself, Double K, Smokey Z, we're going to be talking about a variety of wrestling topics, but we're going to go ahead and get started right off the bat with the newly announced AEW television deal with Turner Media that was announced yesterday. Guys, this is kind of a big deal in the wrestling world today.
I think it's a little bit more than kind of a big deal. We said it last week. Kind of feels a little bit like deja vu.
And it's the same network, TNT.
Right. It's like the same thing all over again.
Yeah.
History will repeat itself?
I don't know. We won't get the Monday Night Wars because they're not going to go toe-to-toe.
Not yet.
But do we
Not
get
yet.
a war?
Oh, I think we do. We talked a lot last week about how WWE is the juggernaut in the business, and they have really set themselves apart from every other wrestling group and promotion that has attempted to challenge them. We saw what happened when TNA tried to go that route, and it failed on an epic proportion. WCW didn't last more than, 62 consecutive weeks that they beat WWF at the time in ratings?
Yeah. I mean, it was, I don't remember the exact number, but yeah, I mean, it was something.
Yeah, I know it was a little
big.
over a year.
Yeah, it was.
Consecutively, and now the significance of this for me, as I look through the actual press release that came out yesterday, this is a different situation. So when TNA went to compete head-to-head on Mondays with WWE, TNA had been around for a long time, over 10 years.
Yeah.
This is a wrestling organization that's coming out. They haven't even had their first show yet. Let's just think about that for a second. They haven't even had their first show yet. And they have now signed a multi-million-dollar TV deal. Now, no rights included. That's a huge part of WWE's business is the rights that are included in their TV deal.
Right.
AEW didn't get that because they're not there yet. But for them to be able to land a deal with a major cable network for a live show once a week?
Well, it's a major cable television network who, at one time, we've already said it many times, had the biggest wrestling show in the industry at the time for a lot of weeks until, the wheels fell off. Yeah. Literally, the wheels fell off.
So, I'll tell you my biggest concern, and we talked a little bit about this last week, but my biggest concern for this AEW deal is not only have we not seen a full production value from them yet, but I don't know that having wrestlers run your business is the best idea. I mean, that's what WCW tried to do at the end of their tenure. That's what TNA was trying to do when they brought in Hogan and Bischoff, and we saw what happened there.
Well, it was WCW 2.0 at that
right
moment. I mean,
but what are we going to get? Because this is pretty much being entirely run by the performers.
There's one person in both of those companies when they both ended.
Well, yeah. It was Jeff Jarrett.
Well, not
good old Double J.
Not only Jeff Jarrett, but Eric Bischoff.
Well, right,
That's
and Hogan.
I mean, Hulk
Hogan.
How long was Bischoff in WWE before he left or got fired or whatever happened?
Well, he was around several years in WWE, but I also think that his role in WWE was he was an on-screen character. I don't think he had the control in WWE that he had in WCW.
He came out as a G. Vince, I think it was just symbolic for Vince to prance Bischoff out on the stage with him and raise his hand as if to say, look what I got. I don't think in Vince's mind, when I look back on it now, I don't think Vince was introducing his Raw GM at the time, or his GM at the time, I think he was showing the world his trophy kill.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that it was a pride thing for him. I don't know how much of a war we're actually going to get out of the AEW deal, but I know that it's going to be something different than what we've been seeing. Now, my question is, does it impact the product that WWE provides? That's my question. Does it impact the product that WWE provides to the fans from what we're getting right now?
I think it should.
But does it? I don't think there's any disagreement that it should impact it, but does it?
I think it all depends on how their first show goes.
So their first show, guys, is only a week and a half away now?
Yeah. No, it's right around the corner. But
we've got Money in the Bank this Sunday, and then the following Sunday is Double or Nothing.
I don't think WWE changes anything based on Double or Nothing, no matter how well it goes.
No.
I don't. I don't think that one show is going to be enough to make Vince McMahon say, oh my God, we got to change this, we got to do 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 this. I don't see that happening at all. I see the reaction of, if AEW comes out in a week and a half and absolutely kills it, I see the WWE looking at it as a lightning in a bottle scenario. Okay, you know what? They had a great show once.
A one-shot wonder.
One-shot wonder. That's what I'm saying. A lightning in it, but they caught it in a bottle one good time. They can't do it again. I can honestly see WWE taking that direction with how they feel about it until AEW does it again and again and again.
So I don't think for 1 second that Vince McMahon is fearful of AEW.
Not at all.
In a recent interview I was reading today, Vince McMahon, when asked if he would sell the WWE, his only response was that they were open for business. I also read an article earlier today that said that Triple H is currently very frustrated behind the scenes with the main roster product because of poor decisions being made amongst the creative side for Raw and SmackDown. I think what we've seen with what he's done in NXT, he is an advocate for building the wrestling business as a whole. And I don't necessarily know that he's going to agree with Vince on the mentality of, we're going to pay talent just to keep them off the streets. Because that's what they're doing right now.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they're paying guys to not wrestle just so AEW can't get them.
That's terrible. It's a waste of...
As a performer, it's
talent.
absolutely god-awful. Because now you're just trapped. You're locked down.
But I'll tell you, on the business side of it, it's remarkable.
Genius.
It's remarkable.
It's genius.
Being a business guy, I'll tell you that's absolutely what I would do, because that keeps you from going into the competition. So imagine, we're giving credibility to AEW already. Let's just throw that out on the table because we're even having the discussion that there's a competition. I mean, that's giving them...
Or that there could be one.
Right. That's giving them credibility right off the bat. So if they were to get other big names, so let's just say that WWE doesn't pay some of those guys to keep them off the street, and then guys like the Revival,
yeah,
your former Raw Tag Team Champions, Matt and Jeff Hardy, your Bobby Lashley's, Goldberg, who we know they were trying to get. WWE has only signed him for a one-match deal. We're going to talk about that match a little bit later on in the show. But, again, these are names that they have gotten, and they haven't even had their first show yet. So once they have that first show, and then you get into what's going to happen with the quality of their product, how do we know that Vince is actually even going to pay attention?
Somebody in that organization is going to pay attention.
Oh, I agree. Somebody.
But Vince has to listen to whoever that is. If AEW does pose a viable threat, I think he needs to listen. I think we need more than the WWE. Because let's face it, with with no challenger, with no competition, you can do whatever you want to do, and people are still going to watch because we love wrestling.
Yeah, because there's
Sure.
Where else are you going to find it?
I think wrestling fans need to be hopeful that AEW is legitimate. I mean, honestly, let's with the roster that they have, I don't know how they're not. You know, Jericho's, Omegas, Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, all those guys, you know, and then all the talent that they're adding in around them. You know, unless some unforeseen, behind-the-scenes garbage takes place, like we reference all the time and we've seen in the past and we still see. Unless something like that happens, I don't see them being bad. I don't see them overtaking WWE, but I do see them posing enough down the road, not immediate, down the road, enough of a threat to where now WWE has to give the universe something more than what we've been seeing
So
in recent memory.
I agree. But the biggest challenge for me is, so let's think back to April 7th when we were in MetLife Stadium. And we were part of that atmosphere. And that's my second time that I've been at WrestleMania in the same location.
Mm-hmm.
How does AEW get there?
I mean, they've certainly got the money.
Well, Tony Khan has as much, if not more money than
Well,
McMahon
that's what I'm
does.
saying. The money's there, so it's not going to be. That's not going to be the issue. I think the issue may be, if there is a negative issue, it's going to be that the wrestler's running the show. That's going to be the problem. Now, how do they get there? You got to hope and hinge everything and hedge your bets on the fact that they do know what they're doing. The people calling shots and putting these shows together, that they are going to put together a quality show no matter what. And it's not going to be Kevin Nash touching Hulk Hogan in the chest with a finger and having Hogan hit him in the chest with a finger.
That's a WCW classic.
That's what I'm saying. That was one of the greatest matches of all time. It's not exactly finger wrestling. Like 1, 2, 3, you know?
Thumb wrestling?
Same thing. Well, he used the finger. He didn't use the thumb.
Let's move past this. It's not getting any better as we talk about it.
It would have been fine had you let it go.
That's so.
Well, you know this group, that's not
It doesn't. There's no letting it go.
You know what, Smokey? You go back to section 4B and sit down.
So, with them moving towards a live show every Tuesday, I'm concerned about. So they're not going to have a writing team. They've already said that. So how are you going to build storylines for a program that's going to be airing every Tuesday?
You gonna let the wrestlers write their own story?
Well, and I'm okay with those guys doing that in the ring. And there are certain individuals that have that talent to be able to do that both in the ring and on paper and behind the microphone.
Right.
But there are a lot of guys in this business that can't. You put them in the ring and let them wrestle because that's what they're good at. But you put them behind a microphone and you don't always get the same results.
That's true.
So I think there's some credibility questions there that we're just going to have to wait and see what the answer is. Because I don't think any of us have the answer right off the top.
Well, no, I mean, every single little thing right now is all speculation.
Sure.
Like I said, you look at the roster, it should be good. You look at the creative minds of some of the wrestlers that are there and have done this for 100 years already, it should be good. You know, there's enough money behind this thing not to fail in theory. It should be good. So right now, I really don't see it not doing well. But
So
Time will tell.
I'll tell you that when I read through the press release for AEW announcing the television deal, one of the things that I found unique or surprising was the reference of that the roster included several top names and the legendary Chris Jericho was the verbiage they used.
Mm-hmm.
So I think back to TNA. Do you remember who TNA was built around, what it was founded around? It was founded and built around Jeff Jarrett.
Right.
So is AEW setting itself up to be built around Chris Jericho?
I don't think so. I feel like everything is centering toward Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
I feel like everything that you see, the first spokesperson that you see now is
Sure.
Cody Rhodes. I feel like he's the face of the franchise. I think Chris Jericho is going to have a massive role.
Yeah, because anytime I think of AEW, the first person that comes to mind is Cody Rhodes. So
Yeah.
So when I look at the second paragraph of the announcement, it says, founded by President and CEO Tony Khan, AEW is headlined by members of the Elite, which includes all-star wrestlers the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, Cody and Brandy Rhodes, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Page, and a roster that includes the legendary Chris Jericho. So let's fast forward here for just a moment, and let's talk about Double or Nothing and the card for that show. Which, give me a second, I'll get to it. So, on May 25th at 7 p.m. from the MGM Grand Arena, mind you, this event is already sold out. It is available on demand via your cable providers. Most outlets are charging $59.95 for it. I don't remember seeing those pay-per-views anymore. I mean, that amount, because I was so used to, with the WWE Network, you pay a monthly fee and you get to watch it. TNT did announce with part of their deal that they're going to be introducing a multimedia platform for on-demand streaming of the AEW events to come announced at a later date. So it sounds like they're going to deliver a similar product to the WWE Network. But if we look at the card for that event, the main event is currently billed as Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. We've seen that match once already.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about that? That's your main event. This is where I question the Cody Rhodes part, because you're billing your main event as Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega.
Yeah, I still feel like it's Cody Rhodes. I mean, long term. I think you use Chris Jericho right now. He's probably the most recognizable name on the roster. You use him now. He's not going to wrestle full time for very much longer.
Well, no, I don't think he's there to wrestle full time.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So you use
He's
him
an
now.
attraction.
He's an attraction. You use him now. He's the most recognizable name. He's the biggest WWE name on that AEW roster.
For sure.
So you use that. You use it to build on. I think that's good business, I think.
Okay.
Because the casual wrestling fan who has no freaking clue what we're talking about right now, Cody Rhodes, who's that? I don't know who that is. They've at least heard of Chris Jericho.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? So they're going to be like,
Well, some of them may not even know who Kenny Omega is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So right now, through every level of wrestling fan there is, to the first timer, to the, I'll only watch it on Monday nights guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For those people, who are they going to know?
Chris Jericho.
Right. So if Chris Jericho's in your main event of this brand new wrestling promotion, that will be enough to get a lot of people to tune in.
Sure.
So I still don't think that it's built around him. Right now, everything is kind of riding on his name. But I think
he brought legitimacy.
Yeah, he did. So I think that moving forward, though, to take it from what it's built off of with Jericho's name, Cody Rhodes takes it and runs with it. Unless somewhere down the road there are other signees that could overshadow Cody. Excuse me. I think he's the guy.
So, Smokey Z, you got anything on you want to add to the Jericho Kenny Omega conversation?
Well said.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
I tell you what, man, that was profound right
It
there.
was powerful.
He was still stuck in a stadium seat in 4B.
He had to pull the lips off his vape. So, we're going to move on from the Kenny Omega Chris Jericho
Well said, sir.
conversation, and we're going to move to the AAA World Tag Team Championship, which is going to be the Young Bucks versus Pentagon Jr. in Phoenix. I haven't seen a ton of Pentagon Jr. matches. The Young Bucks are entertaining to watch regardless. Who do you think did the Young Bucks retain in this?
You know what? No.
You don't think so?
No. I think you've got it. Again, you said we've seen the main event before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's not going to be really anything massive happen there.
No.
So where do you make your mark on this show?
Title change.
Titles change hands. I think that Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix take this thing. And I think it's... Whether they take it clean or not, who knows?
Okay.
But I still think they take it, and I think they walk away with the titles. That may be the biggest shocker on the card if it happens.
Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me either way. But I honestly feel like that's liable to be the second best match of the night. Is the tag team match for the titles. I really do think that's going to be the second best match of the night. We're also going to see the Hangman Adam Page versus PAC. And the next match is what I think is going to be the best match of the night. Hands down. If it's not, I'll be disappointed.
Yeah, I think,
and it's a
I think
match
you're
that,
right.
I'm going to be entirely honest, it's a match that we should have seen at WrestleMania in front of 90,000 people. It's where it deserves to be.
The grandest stage of them all.
And that's Cody versus Dustin Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
To have the American Nightmare versus just Dustin Rhodes. Just Dustin Rhodes. Not Gold Dust. Dustin Rhodes. Guys, I really do think that, for me, the whole pay-per-view is worth it just to watch that match.
I'm excited for that match.
Yeah, I think they're going to come out, and I think they're just going to let it all go. I think they're both going to leave everything in the ring because I think they both understand and feel that this should have happened somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, in my opinion, that should be the main event.
Oh, I agree. We've seen, and it's not being billed as the main event. Who knows what it's going to be when the night actually comes. That may very well be the main event, for all we know.
Could be.
So, moving on from that, we've got Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky versus SEMA. T-Hawk and Lindemann. Nothing spectacular there, but...
I do like Christopher Daniels, though.
Yes.
Yes, and it's good to see him back on a name brand, well-promoted program.
Yeah. Yeah, there were
So-
some shenanigans in TNA that I just was like,
Yeah.
couldn't get on board with.
Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose versus Kylie Ray. Angelico and Jack Evans versus the Best Friends. And this card just goes on. We've got the Casino Battle Royale, which is on the pre-show. Multiple folks participating there. So here's my question, and I don't see it here on the AEW card that we have in front of us. But my question is that we don't see where are your champions going to be? What are your championship matches? We know where the tag team titles are. But so if you think about the Casino Battle Royal.
What was that?
The Casino Battle
Royale?
Royal.
Okay, just making
There's
sure.
no E.
It says winner receives a shot at the AEW World Championship.
Right. So who's your AEW World Champion?
So, a shot at who with what title?
Exactly.
So
how you gonna get a shot at? Ain't
does that mean we're going to see Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho for the AEW World Title, or is it Cody versus Dustin Rhodes for the AEW World Title? I mean, what's it going to be?
Maybe there's a pregame coin toss.
I haven't seen
it. You win, you get the title.
Rock, paper, scissors.
You get what?
I said heads or tails. If you get heads, if it lands on heads, you get the title.
Thank you for clarifying, Smokey Z.
Whew! We dodged one there, folks.
We did. But I haven't seen anything from them that tells us what are the championship matches other than your tag team title match. What are your other championship matches?
Are there any pictures of the titles themselves?
Now, I don't believe so. I'm actually trying to pull up the AEW page to see if I can find some kind of information about the actual titles, but there's nothing. There's nothing listed. Now we now have the next 2 events for AEW have been announced. So we've got Double or Nothing on May 25th. That's going to follow by Fyter Fest on June 29th. And then Fight for the Fallen on July 13th. So very different approaches for the names that we've seen. I'm curious as to what the theme of Fight for the Fallen, what gave them,
Let me see that.
what storyline are they going to drive for that event? Where are you headed with it?
I mean, I don't know.
So, it's going to be interesting to see what they can pull off regardless. I'm going to wrap up our conversation on AEW, and I want to move on to a topic that we discussed a little bit last week and the week before, which is Bray Wyatt. So,
Yeah, wow.
So 2 days ago on Monday Night Raw, we got to see a different side of Bray Wyatt. Mm-hmm. He introduced, in my opinion, one of the creepiest masks I've ever seen in my life.
I think it was awesome.
It
It was something out of a nightmare.
Yeah.
I was telling Double K before we started, and I was like, "This is kind of stuff that gives children nightmares."
Oh, absolutely. That and
And to go back to what was it last week we were talking about it, that WWE is more towards children based.
that was not.
Couldn't been further from it.
Right?
In fact, it was almost the opposite. You were enticing them in with this children's playhouse kind of gimmick.
It was like, yeah,
and then turn around and do some Nightmare on Elm Street stuff.
Yeah, I mean it was bad.
Yeah,
And I don't mean bad as in I didn't enjoy it. It was perfect.
It was terrifying.
This is a more evil incarnation of Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Now, let's not screw it up.
Please don't.
Let's not screw it up. Let's not pair Bray Wyatt. Let's not pair this Bray Wyatt with Matt Hardy. Let's not pair this Bray Wyatt for comic relief.
Well, I'd be okay if broken Matt Hardy stays broken.
I mean, I like Matt Hardy right where he's at. He and Jeff stay together, do your thing.
He's actually
I mean,
planning on going on a singles venture now.
but at least he got.
Yeah.
I know we're sidetracking a little bit here, but at least Matt got himself in shape. He is not out of shape anymore. He actually put in some time and everything. So you know what? Fine, I'm good with it. Jeff's out hurt right now, so you kind of, if you're going to do it, you kind of have to do it as a single. But my point is,
but we've seen that.
Let's let Bray Wyatt be Bray Wyatt. You know, let's let him be the Eater of Worlds or whatever the hell this is right now. Looks like the eater of everything.
Pennywise mixed with Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. Let's let him be that. Let's let him be that, because I feel like every promotion needs that darker side. And Taker doesn't provide it anymore. He just doesn't.
Is this the replacement for Taker?
I don't think it's a replacement for Taker. I think it's a completely different direction.
Yeah, I don't. I'll go officially on the record and say that there will never be a replacement for The Undertaker.
But as in, like, the dark character for the company.
I hope so.
So we talked about this, long before we ever started the show, but we talked about how we believed that we were disappointed that WWE got away from characters, and that Bray Wyatt was the first time that they had brought a character in, and it did well. I think that they're trying to reintroduce him at this point because the fans did not. I mean, he's been gone for a while.
Yeah.
So I felt, and
I was worried there for a little bit that he was gone.
Yeah, and so much had changed since he was last around that I felt like they had to do something different to reintroduce him, to make people remember who he was.
I think they nailed it.
Oh, I think they did too, but I'm going to side with Double K, and I'm going to say that, just don't ruin it.
I was a little worried when they first started this whole...
Well, I think we all were, and it was like, what the hell are you doing to Bray Wyatt?
What is going on?
When did we mix Bray Wyatt with Mr. Rogers?
It's like what I said at the beginning. Well, before we even came on the air, we were talking about Bray Wyatt. They've got something right now. They've got it on the road, and it's rolling forward.
Absolutely.
In a really good direction. All they have to do is keep it between the ditches. It can get a little loose here and there.
Sure.
But keep it between the ditches and don't let this thing run off the flipping road again.
Yeah. So, excited. We'll see where that goes as we move forward. Let's move on to our pay-per-view this coming Sunday. We ran through this card last week. I just want to run through it again, and that's WWE's Money in the Bank. Timing for it's a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. But here's where we stand. The WWE Universal Championship, Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles. I honestly think that match is going to blow people out of their seats.
I hope so.
Those are two very entertaining performers that really, I would say, are at the top of their game. I don't know that there's anybody better at in-ring performance right now than those two guys. So I'm gonna actually say that I think the title changes hands on Sundays.
Really, that fast?
Absolutely. Well,
I mean, or do we set up a little bit of a feud?
And, you can set
do
the
it down the
feud
road
either way.
Well, either way, but I'm saying, it kind of goes to what I was saying a minute ago. We've got the car on the road. We've got it headed in the right direction with Seth, finally. Roman's doing the Roman thing, bouncing back and forth. Ambrose, Moxley is somewhere doing something.
Yep.
Somewhere
doing something.
He's filming a movie right now.
Right. So we know what he's not doing. So now's the time for Seth to actually shine and get back to where he was when he was Triple H's lapdog. And I'm not saying get back to be Triple H's lapdog. I'm saying be the top guy in the company moving forward.
So here's the universal question. How can when you think about this match, you have two faces pairing off.
Who's turning heel?
Who becomes the heel?
I think AJ. And I say that quickly because I've been thinking about it, just watching AJ's actions, listening to him.
We know one of them's going to turn.
I think it's AJ.
Or it could be a curveball, be Seth.
Well, yeah.
But
Because Seth hasn't been a heel.
and Seth makes a damn good heel.
Right.
But so does AJ. And both have been faces for a while.
Mm-hmm. Something has to give one way or the other. But please, for the love of whatever it is you believe in, do not let somebody turn heel by hitting another guy in the nuts.
I was getting ready to say, do we see another low blow?
Don't
Shinsuke this.
God, don't let that happen.
Don't.
No, because Shinsuke went on a damn tear.
Yeah, I mean, not. Let's not turn this into another Nakamura nutcracker. Like that is not. His career never recovered from that. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say that right now. His career never recovered from his feud with AJ Styles.
No, it's steadily gotten worse.
So
It's gotten to the point where people were like, "Oh, great."
Well, it's to the point now. They tried to pair him with Rusev and save something, and that was terrible. You can argue with me all you want, anybody who's listening, but that was terrible.
yeah,
Shinsuke and Rusev together were terrible. The best possible
Two
thing
different
I think
types of wrestling.
they should have never tried to turn Shinsuke heel. He's a freaking horrible heel.
he's a face. He's just a guy that's what he does.
Right, he's this lovable character that everybody loves to sing a song and dance along to, if that's dancing, gyrate.
That's a better
They
word.
can gyrate along to the music with him. But that's who he is. That's the gimmick. He's a straight face. And I can't believe that they haven't even attempted to try to bring him back.
No.
Bring him back from the dead.
Yeah. So, as I look down through the rest of this card, Kofi Kingston versus Kevin Owens, I think Kofi retains.
See, there's the one I'm worried about.
You think they're going to screw it up?
I feel like they're going to put it on
Owens?
I've said it now. This is show 4. I've said it since show 1.
A lot of the recent weekly shows of him having title matches on the shows and retaining, so I'm starting to get that feeling that when it comes to Money in the Bank, he's going to lose.
I mean, I hadn't really thought about it that way, but I think you're right because they've given him multiple defenses in which he's won and retained.
Yeah. That's
so
true.
That's a justice. I can see that being a justification for you just couldn't do it against KO. You did it against this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. You wrestled Daniel Bryan again in a WrestleMania rematch. You won fair and square again.
And in my opinion, that match was terrible.
The one that was on Raw?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it had its issues for sure. But, like I said, at the end of the day, Kofi beat him again. Then, he wins again and again and again. So, yeah, like I said, I hadn't really thought about it from that specific angle, but
I mean, as much as I would like it for him to retain it, it's just
that's
one of the
my
predictability things that we've been talking about the
that's
past
my
couple
biggest,
weeks.
boldest prediction for this weekend, honestly.
All right, Becky Lynch, Lacey Evans.
Lacey Evans.
You think so?
I think they put it on Lacey Evans, and I think after that, I think Becky retains SmackDown, and then takes that title back to SmackDown. Lacey Evans takes over Raw.
I don't think she loses either one of them.
I could actually see it the other way around, and seeing her keep the Raw and lose the SmackDown to Charlotte.
I can see that too, but
I just
got this whole Becky 2 belts thing going on.
Yeah, but I don't see. They've got to fix that because right now your fans don't have a clue who's on what show.
Right.
I mean, between that and the wild card rule, does it even really matter that you have a brand split anymore?
Nope. I've had 2 weeks of the wild card, and it totally negates. It totally negates the draft.
Yeah,
100% shoots the draft in the butt.
Yeah.
So are they going to bury the draft again?
Well, I don't know if you can bury the draft again because here in just a few months,
SmackDown's going to be on a whole different network.
SmackDown's on a completely different
network. How is this
network.
wild card going to work?
I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, we've already discussed that. Men's Money in the Bank, Ricochet, Sami Zayn, your favorite all-star player there, Double K. Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Randy Orton.
Do we have a vomit sound effect on here?
Ali, Andrade, and Finn Balor. Who's your pick? Double K.
I picked Andrade last week.
Sami Zayn.
Look, we're about to have a damn tables match right here in this room. All right? It's about to go down. I picked Andrade last week, and I'm going to stick with it.
Smokey Z?
I'm going to go with Drew.
Drew McIntyre. So I tell you, I'm torn. I'm torn between Drew McIntyre and Ali. I think that Ali has as good a shot as anybody at winning that match, because I think WWE is going to try to go with something different. If it's the same old WWE, then Randy Orton will win the damn thing. If it's the same WWE.
There's only one outcome in this entire thing that will force me to say really bad things on this show next week.
Well, that's right. Our next show will be discussing the results of Money in the Bank.
Dear God, don't make me discuss that.
Sami Zayn with the briefcase.
So,
or cashing it in and Sami Zayn with the title.
You watch your mouth. I'm telling you, this table's...
Or
you can go through this table.
Back, winning the thing and then winning the title.
Now you're just trying to save it.
yes.
Nauseating. I think they, like I said, I'm still going on Andrade because he's kind of, if you think about it, look at the guys who are in this. They're not really making a big deal about him being in this. He's kind of flying under the radar. So's Finn Balor.
Yep.
You know, they're kind of flying under the radar. Not a lot going on with them. You know, they had some matches this week, but I mean, nothing meaningful or nothing overwhelming. But if you think of the least talked about person in this match, who is it? It's Andrade.
Did you happen to see the picture I sent in that group message on Instagram of Finn Balor with the...
I did. It could happen.
So
I don't here you go. I don't think it's going to be a big
Instagram,
man.
So we'll have to...
No, I don't think it's going to be a big man either.
It won't be a big man because it was a big man last year.
And if it's the shaved testicle Baron Corbin, then we know how that ends ultimately, which is him in a losing effort because he couldn't do anything with it the last time he had it.
I'll pay to see the show twice as long as Sami Zayn doesn't win it. You know what? I don't mind if it's Baron Corbin as long as it's not him. I'm going to complain a little bit, but...
Well, you remember how Sami Zayn got in that match, right?
Beating Braun Strowman.
Yeah,
no, wait. Wait just a damn minute. Sammy did not beat Braun Strowman. Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin beat Braun Strowman. Threw Sammy on top, or Sammy crawled on top. I don't know. I was having a hard time watching at that point.
Okay, you said Drew and Baron.
Held Sammy down on Braun for the pin.
They're also both in this match, so did they help Sami Zayn?
No, they were doing that. Would you rather face Sami Zayn or would you rather face Braun Strowman?
Well, Sami Zayn, that's hands down.
Well, right. So if they had a chance to get Braun Strowman out of the match,
That makes perfect sense.
it makes 100% perfect sense.
So let's move on to the...
You would like to see them throw him off the ladder.
I don't care who wins as long as it's not him.
If he could see Sami Zayn come off of a ladder, outside the ring, through a table, and smack his head on the concrete, Double K would be extremely satisfied.
And leave on a stretcher?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want the guy's career to be over. I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Well, no.
I just wish he would go somewhere I don't have to watch him perform anymore. I wish him a long, healthy career as long as I don't need to see it.
On the indie scene, just not in Virginia.
I don't care where it is. Just as long as I don't need to see it. I don't want the guy's career to end.
He'll
But
show up at CPW.
And then we'd have to call the show. So that'd be the first time that I'm going to need Smokey Z to have a beep button to press and censor Double K.
I'm just going to have to hold it.
So let's move on to the women's Money in the Bank match. Natalya, Dana Brooke, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Mandy Rose, Bayley, Ember Moon, and Carmella. Who's your dark horse in this?
I'm gonna stick with Mandy.
Mandy Rose.
I feel like this one could go in any direction.
I don't know.
I'm going Ember Moon.
Ember Moon.
I'm kind of torn because what is it that we have seen for the men's Money in the Bank that we have not seen yet for the women's?
I'm not sure where you headed with this.
Two-time winner.
Oh, a 2-time winner. So did we see Alexa Bliss?
I don't think so.
Two-time it?
I think she's still too much of a risk right now.
I think look at what has been going on with her since 2 weeks now. She had a match 2 weeks ago. That was the most careful, cautious match I've seen in a long time. Very low impact. There were a couple little spots that were a little higher than low impact, but for the most part, it was very careful and cautious. And then this week, she had a match scheduled, and she ended up putting Nikki Cross in there for her, who ended up winning the match. By the way, I wish that she was in the women's Money in the Bank.
So I'm going to go with Mandy Rose with Smokey Z. I think Mandy walks away with the victory on that one. Next match, I'm honestly not real excited for.
Nah.
And it's Roman Reigns versus Elias. Although I'll tell you, if they want Elias to have a career,
He needs to beat Roman.
he's got to beat Roman on Sunday.
It's hard to disagree with that.
Because so far, you've had opportunities for Elias to be something special, but then you have him lose.
I don't see him in that heavyweight title main event picture yet.
No, not yet, but you still...
But you're putting him in against Roman Reigns right now in a pay-per-view, which I don't care if Roman has a title or not. I don't care if they say since Roman's come back, he's going to take a step back from that scene or
Right.
not.
He's
If
still
you're
a top
wrestling
dog.
Roman Reigns at a pay-per-view, that is the heavyweight title main event picture. It's the same thing.
That's true.
It's the same thing. So I don't know if Elias is there yet.
Well, I'm pulling for Elias in that match. I want to see him walk away with the W.
Yeah.
And I don't really care how he does it as long as he does it.
Yeah.
So, next match, I think, has a chance at being the biggest match on the card just because of the two guys that are in it.
Could be a show stealer.
I would definitely say that The Miz, Shane McMahon in a steel cage promises to be electrifying.
Do you see more Dangerous X like we did from The Miz at
I think you see
WrestleMania?
something. I don't know. I think you see, instead of Shane coming off the top, I think you see
The Miz?
The Miz coming off the top. That's what I think you see.
Whatever happens, this feud has to end at this pay-per-view.
I don't think it does.
Well, I mean, feud as far as having match after match after match after match. They can continue to have a typical McMahon feud, screwing The Miz by putting him in tight spots and tricky situations, sticky situations here and there. But as far as, you had a match on the biggest stage, which was a great match.
Mhm.
Really good. All right, so we're going to have one more because Shane won that one.
Well, I think The Miz wins this one, and you got to have a tiebreaker. And I think that tiebreaker comes at SummerSlam.
I guess I could get on board with that, yeah.
So you got a brief
No, Hell in a Cell.
intermission. I'd get on board with that.
Yeah.
So
As long as it's not red.
yeah, as long as it's not red.
Oh, that was hideous. That was terrible. I don't know about you guys. Did you have a hard time seeing what was going on through the red cage?
To be honest, I was too focused on it being red than I was.
I don't
Worried
even
about the
know.
matches?
I don't even know that it was a situation that I couldn't see through it. Because let's be real, it's no different than when it's silver. The structure didn't change. It's just the color. So I don't think that it really looked any different. I think it was just such a shocker that it was red instead of silver.
It
Nobody
drew
was
everybody
used to it.
Drew everybody to it.
Yeah, nobody was used
I
to
think
it.
that's what everybody's biggest problem was.
So the United States Championship match, I got to tell you, I could care less. Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio.
I don't really care.
But if you're picking one, who you picking?
Samoa Joe.
I'm going to be different from the herd on this one.
Yeah?
I'm picking Ray.
Okay. So, in the last match that is on here is the Cruiserweight Championship match, Tony Nese versus Daivari. I'm going to tell you, I don't see Daivari beating Tony Nese.
No.
I just don't see that happening.
Not at all.
Well,
By any stretch of the imagination.
it's his first pay-per-view title defense.
That it is. Now, speaking of pay-per-views, let's move on to WWE's next show, which will come the first Saturday or Friday in June, I believe, which is going to be their Super Showdown. This one not taking place in Melbourne, Australia, but will take place in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. I really don't want to get into the controversy of them doing a show in Saudi Arabia. We've talked about that as a group off the air. But I do want to talk about one match in specific, and it's really the only match that we know is going to take place at this point.
Yeah.
And
one match that I called.
And you did call it. Smokey Z did call it. But I got to tell you, I wasn't expecting WWE to pull the card on this one. But they did.
They pulled it.
And we are going to see, for the first time ever, Goldberg versus Undertaker.
Just pray to God that Goldberg doesn't kill him.
I think it's going to be better than what we think. I'm holding out hope. If you follow Bill Goldberg on Instagram, he even made the comment that this match happened several years. I don't remember the specific number. It was at least 10 to 15 years too late. He made that comment himself. However, he is still honored to be stepping in the ring with the Dead Man. This is a huge honor for any superstar.
Well, sure.
To get in the ring with Undertaker. And likewise,
not many people can say that they've gotten in the ring with the Undertaker one-on-one
right,
over the past 6-7 years.
Yeah.
It's a very count on only.
And it is a hand-selected, chosen few.
Yeah. And so it is an honor.
Yeah.
But I would say the honor is the same on the reverse. There's only two guys that can say that they've wrestled Bill Goldberg in 12 years.
Yeah.
Two guys.
Kevin Owens. Brock Lesnar.
And Brock Lesnar.
And, I don't know how much Kevin can say he wrestled Brock, or he wrestled Bill Goldberg. He took a spear and a jackhammer and lost the title.
Yeah, that happened.
And that was it.
Yep. But he's still
1.5 guys can say that they wrestled been in the ring with Bill Goldberg in the last 12 years.
Two guys could say they've been in the ring with Bill. One could say they wrestled him.
Fair.
Well, if we wanted to level it on that playing field, guys, neither one of them can say they wrestled and one of them brawled with him.
That's fair. Also fair.
Yeah. We can say it in a multitude of ways.
But I'll tell you, I think that is what works for this match with The Undertaker. Because it doesn't have to be a wrestling match.
It's got to be a fight.
Yeah.
I mean,
Taker can still do that.
Right. The best pure striker in WWE history.
He can still fight. Wrestling, not so much.
He never was overly technical.
No.
So, I don't know where everybody's flipping out. Oh, he can't wrestle anymore. Well, hell, he never did wrestle. He would fought. He fought. He would throw in some technical moves here and there. In your basic standard arm bars and headlocks.
Yeah.
But when did you see him wrestle a Bret Hart style match?
Well, you never would.
Well, but that's my point.
So, are you interested in seeing it? That's my only question.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't know. I was very curious to see what they were going to do with Taker before I would say I was interested in seeing it. I'm all in. I'm all in now.
If it were going to be Taker Reigns or Taker anybody in the new era of wrestling, no, I would not have been excited.
It just would not have. We've seen what that looks like.
I always love seeing the entrance because it brings back so many memories, and I love it. But as soon as a match would start, if it were Taker Triple H again, okay, we've seen it 500 times, but okay for this particular event, okay, I'm down. any guy from that era, I'm on board.
Yeah. And the chance to see Goldberg again, and they'll be in front of a crowd that they've never battled before.
Right.
So it's a first time ever match, but it's also going to be a first time in front of that crowd. That'll be the first time that Goldberg's been in front of that crowd live. So I'm going to kind of skip over a couple of the things on our run sheet here for the sake of saving time, and I want to move down to our last point of the evening before we go back to our trivia for the second week in a row. And that is, what do you guys think of John Cena's statement to TMZ earlier this week when he said that he feels that WWE no longer needs him?
I don't think he's wrong.
So he was very clear about that. He said that he didn't feel like he didn't need WWE. He just said he's finally reached a point where the company doesn't need him. And he even mentioned that he said, 5 years ago that wasn't the case.
Well, and he was 100% spot on with that.
So he gave a lot of credit to the current talent and said that, it's not a question of the business. It's just that they don't need me anymore.
I mean, he's not wrong. How many people you think you see be like, oh, bring back John Cena. Where's John Cena?
It's either that or he's been in and out now for several years. It almost seems like it happened simultaneous from the day he criticized The Rock for doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like from that day, all of a sudden, that ball was in John Cena's court. Now he's doing the exact same thing. And he's gone on record before saying, I see what it's like now. I understand, what The Rock's been doing and things like that. But I think it's just more of a thing now where he's been in and out for so long that the fans and everybody have kind of moved on from John Cena. Because we know now.
You could technically call it the John Cena era.
Well, yeah, you could, but I mean
that's fair.
Because he was literally carrying the whole company on his back.
He carried that company
for at least
on
10,
his
12
back
years.
for 13 years.
Yeah.
Because they had no one.
And there is no. So without John Cena, and this is something that I don't know that I've ever said before, but without John Cena, there is no CM Punk. There really wasn't an Edge if you take John Cena out.
Yeah.
There's no Jeff Hardy becoming world champion. I mean, you can go down the list. You start going Dolph Ziggler. Doesn't happen.
No.
There are so many guys that, quite frankly, become irrelevant if it wasn't for John Cena. That's just like when you listen to The Rock. The Rock has said in the past that, yeah, he became one of the biggest superstars, but he owes his entire career to Austin. Because without that feud, what was The Rock before the Austin feud?
Rocky Maivia.
Does anybody do you remember anything memorable from Rocky Maivia?
I remember that somewhat flat top perm on the top of his head and blue tassels in some sort of Technicolor warrior wardrobe kind of thing.
Right, but that's it.
Yeah, that was it.
So without Austin, there is no. But you could go through the history of WWE, and there's a lot of those guys.
To what we're talking about, think back to the Hall of Fame when we were there this year.
Yeah.
You had, 4 probably Hall of Fame inductees?
5, because I know where you're going with this.
5 Hall of Fame inductees this year that gave thanks and appreciation to one of the men who, throughout the last 15, 20 years, all you hear about was, he buried this one, and the person I'm talking about is Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
You had 5 Hall of Famers giving their induction speech, and in that induction speech, thanked Hulk Hogan for their career.
Yeah.
And I think there will be one day, I'm going to tie this all in, there will be one day where there will be 5 Hall of Fame inductees down the road giving thanks and appreciation to John Cena, who we have heard the very same burial speeches about.
Yeah.
They will be giving thanks to him for their careers.
Absolutely. Without question. He is. You had the Hogan era.
Yeah.
You had the Austin era. And I think Smokey Z hit it right on the head.
You got the Cena era.
There
Damn,
is a
man, you've
Cena-
been right 2 weeks in a row.
There is a Cena era of professional
Yeah.
wrestling where he was the guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
He even took Fruity Pebbles to a new height of fame.
I kind of grew up watching John Cena weekly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So now that we've moved past that, it is time for what is going to become our new tradition here on Wrestle Rewind, where we're going to do our wrestling trivia. Our defending champion of trivia from the reigning champion is Double K.
I need my theme music, baby.
And Smokey Z challenging again. I have a list.
Hey, there's a reason that you're challenging. You want to know what it is? Because you lost.
Got it this time.
So I have a new set of questions for you guys.
Well, that's good.
And this is where we're going to start. Question number 1. These are multiple choice. 10 questions. Which of the following Hall of Fame inductees was not inducted posthumously?
I'm sorry, I don't even know what that word means.
I can't believe he just said that on air. That means after they died.
Oh.
So, which of the following
It means
inductees
you have gas.
was not inducted posthumously? So, meaning, which one of these was inducted while they were still alive?
I got it.
Is it the Junkyard Dog, Buddy Rogers, the Grand Wizard, or Mae Young? Double K. What is your selection?
I'm thinking.
Smokey Z, do you have a pick? I
Going-
made sure these were harder than the ones I gave you last week.
Mae Young.
Mae Young.
I'm going to have to go with Mae Young.
Both of you are correct. The answer is Mae Young. 1 point for each of you. Question number 2. Is it getting hot in here?
Yes.
Ethan. Ethan the Panda recoils from the flames shooting out from the ring's turnbuckles as his first opponent enters the arena.
Wait a minute. Start that over again. What did you say?
Ethan the Panda recoils from the flames shooting out from the ring's turnbuckles as his first opponent enters the arena. This red giant wore a mask throughout the Attitude Era and was one of the most feared wrestlers of all time. What was his name?
Are you really asking this question?
I am.
Kane.
Kane.
It is Kane. You know, if I'd have read that one completely before I asked it, I would have
You
never.
should have just read that one all the way through, buddy.
Yes. So,
You almost had me at Ethan the Panda, though.
I was like,
I thought that was going to be
Now-
I thought that was going to be like a word problem from preschool, from elementary school, and I was like, wait a minute.
now we're going to ask another question. And this question is about one of the most memorable matches in the history of WWE. On June 28th, 1998, at the King of the Ring, The Undertaker wrestled his longtime rival Mankind in a Hell in a Cell match. The bout remains one of the most physically violent in wrestling history.
Mm-hmm.
What did Mankind, a.k.a. Mick Foley, do during the contest to kick it up a notch? Was it fell off the top of the cage and landed on the Spanish announce table? Fell right through the roof and down into the ring? Took a fall on a bed of thumbtacks? Or all of them?
All of them.
all of them.
You guys are 3 for 3.
Can you stop copying me, dude?
Like you said, it's the most memorable
You,
match.
I need you to
How
answer.
do you not know
You
all
need to
that?
start answering questions to win instead of just keep up.
So
Did you just give me 2 fingers?
that's moving on. For over a decade, I was one of the most popular jobbers in WWF. I was originally booked to win the WWF Tag Team Championship with Tony Atlas in 1982. However, Tony missed the show and several others after that, so the idea was scrapped for a year. Who am I? This is not multiple choice.
Oh, that sucks. In 1982, he was scheduled to win it with Tony Atlas.
With Tony Atlas.
I wasn't even born.
Well, you were still waiting on that bead.
Still fourth in line there, buddy. All right, who's your guess, dude?
I have no idea.
Well, throw something out there.
Like I said, I wasn't even alive.
I've got to guess. I just want him to go first because I don't want him to copy me.
Just pick a name then.
Booker T.
That is incorrect.
I don't know.
He was still Harlem Heat in WCW.
Not in 82, he wasn't.
Well, no.
I'm going, was it Rocky Johnson?
It was not Rocky Johnson. It was S.D. Jones. He was
Okay.
one half of the Wild Samoans. So you were close.
No, yeah. I was like,
You were close.
yeah.
You're not.
How was I supposed to know?
He and Rocky Johnson actually did win them, didn't
Yeah, they did.
they? Yeah.
So I'm going to skip the next question or the next two questions because I know you're not going to know those. Hulk Hogan's famous ring entrances in the Hulkamania years involved him ripping off a T-shirt and tossing it into the crowd. But when he wrestled as a heel in the early 80s, his attire was a little different. What did he wear to the ring during those years?
A weightlifting belt.
Okay. Smokey Z is going to go with the weightlifting belt. We're waiting on Double K as the smoke fills the room coming from his
I know.
ears.
I'm really trying to think this through because what did he wear?
I will tell you that it was not a T-shirt.
Did he wear the feather boa back then? No.
That is also incorrect.
No.
He wore the thin yellow cape
Right.
during those years.
Because he wore it to the ring as Thunderlips in Rocky 3.
Yes, he did.
And that's why I didn't say it. I was like, did he just wear that just because he had the top hat with the little red feather?
I wish that you would have never said what his name was in the Rocky movie. Because
Thunderlips, man.
I can't. I'll tell you, I was watching that with a friend of mine the other night, and when that came up, the question I got was, did they just say his name was Thunderlips?
If you've never heard the story about how Hogan negotiated himself what he got paid for.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He negotiated himself several $1,000s less than what Stallone called him and offered him. I don't remember exactly what the numbers were now, but in a Hogan interview, he was laughing about it. He's like, I'd never really had to negotiate a movie or whatever, so Stallone calls him and says, I'll give you this to show up and do this because they were in town taping, and Hogan's like, nah, just do this. And Stallone was like, really? He's like, yeah. So.
Okay.
I wish I could remember the numbers.
So, next question. Who was the first person to ever pin Mr. Perfect in WWE? You guys want a hint? I'll give you a hint. It is a WWE Hall of Famer.
What kind of hint is that?
It's a hint.
That's a lot of them.
It's a hint, isn't it?
You really narrowed that down. That's like, you know who it is. It's that guy that stood in the corner that day with that shirt on. Oh, yeah, that guy. Got it. Oh,
I'll narrow it down for you. It was a headliner.
The Bret Hart?
Okay. Smokey Z's guess is in with Bret Hart.
that's not a bad one. I got to use strategy. I'm going to say Bret Hart, too.
You are both incorrect. It was none other than the gentleman we were just talking about, Hulk Hogan. All right. So we're still tied at 3 points apiece.
We're stinking up the joint this week.
Who was the first ever WWE Women's Champion?
All right. E?
Sorry, WWF
Okay.
Women's Champion.
First ever.
First ever WWF Women's Champion.
This is probably also before your time, Smokey. I'm going to say the Fabulous Moolah.
The Fabulous Moolah. Double K's pick is in.
I'm torn. I was torn again between a couple, so I'm going with that one.
I don't remember many of the females from then. So, I don't know.
You got to give me a name. Was it? I'll give you 4 names. How about that? Was it Alun? Well, you can change your pick. If I give 4 names, I'll let you change. Is it Alundra Blaze, the Fabulous Moolah, Mae Young, or Victoria?
I have to go with the Fabulous Moolah.
You are both correct. It is the Fabulous Moolah.
Out of the 4 names that you gave me, I was like, no.
So I'm going through here.
What do we have left?
Well, you're still both tied at 4 questions.
Right, I know. That's why I'm asking. I need to know
So
if I need to step it up or not.
this one will go well for you guys. Who was the act that mentored towards Edge and Christian? What performer was the mentor
Gangrel.
for Edge and Christian? You are both correct with Gangrel.
I was going to say it before you did, but I wanted to be like certain that that's where you were going with that.
So you admitted you are cheating off me.
No, I'm not.
Here you go.
Because I was like, that's
At
Gangrel.
what WrestleMania did Hulk Hogan last wrestle twice in one night?
Oh. Ooh.
Was it WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 5, WrestleMania 7, or WrestleMania 9?
I'm going to go with WrestleMania 7.
That's what I was getting ready to say. 7.
You are both incorrect. It is WrestleMania 9.
I had 7 on my brain. You said it. I was like, shit, now I gotta say it.
I had to say something before you said something just so you wouldn't think I was going to be cheating off you.
Well, I already think that. So,
Which wrestling legend was the first person to be inducted into the Hall of Fame twice?
Ric Flair.
woo.
You are both correct. Next up is someone who Ethan the Panda may want to keep away from his female friend.
Why do you keep... What is this Ethan the Panda stuff?
As this wrestler was known as a bit of a womanizer, which man who referred to himself as the Big Valboski is this?
You answer first.
Smokey Z, he's crunching over here.
I know who it is. I just can't think of his name.
I know who it is, too. That's why I'm making you answer first.
And I can't even give you a hint because I know Double K already knows this answer.
Oh, my God.
I'll-
I know the name because of the big whatever. Because I know who
Careful.
it is.
This is a live show. You can't take it back once it's out there.
That's true. That's true.
I can literally picture him. I just can't think of what his name is.
I'm going to give you a countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
Is it Val Venus?
3. Smokey Z's pick is in it.
Yeah, it's Val Venus.
It is Val
I was
Venus.
like, oh, what is it?
You should have only given 5 seconds.
You both are correct.
I was like, I could literally picture him. I was like, I cannot think of what his name is.
I'm not sure I want to picture him, though, to be honest.
There's just because of...
I mean, 4B.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's one of the larger ones, too.
Yeah.
It's further up.
It's got to get a little uncomfortable.
It's pressure.
A whole lot of it.
Yep.
Yep. Moving on.
That's the truth.
Moving on.
That's right. Moving on. I'm just waiting for the page to finish loading here so we can move on to the next question. I'm not making these questions up, just so you guys know.
Well, I'm starting to feel like maybe you are making something up because that's the second week in a row that you said that.
No, I'm not making them up, I promise. Okay, so during the mid and late 1990s, I held the WWF Tag Team titles with no less than 3 different partners. Jeff Jarrett and the late British Bulldog and Yokozuna were the 3 partners. I was the youngest child of a celebrated and revered wrestling family. Who am I?
What was the question again?
Posthumous.
During the mid and late 1990s, I held the WWF Tag Team titles with no less than 3 different partners. Jeff Jarrett, the British Bulldog, and Yokozuna were the 3 partners. I was the youngest child of a celebrated and revered wrestling family. Who am I?
I'm just waiting on him.
You already have your answer?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Smokey Z, you get steam coming out of your ears. Do you need a hint?
Let me go for it. Go ahead. It's either going to change my mind. It's either going to change my mind or confirm it.
This individual's career ended at Over the Edge.
That didn't help me.
He did not get to wrestle in his match that night. Ten,
Smokey. Are you
9,
counting me or him?
8, whichever one of you wants to speak first.
Owen
7,
Hart?
6, 5.
Owen.
It was Owen Hart.
Like I said, it didn't
that
confirm
last
nor
hint-
deny, but that was where I was
The
going.
last.
So we are going to go into sudden death mode. So the next person to miss a question is the loser.
Sudden death doesn't have anything to do with being posthumous.
Which celebrity WWE Hall of Famer was featured in the movie Penitentiary 2?
The hell, I've never even heard of that movie.
I didn't either.
So, do you want to skip that question then?
Yeah, I've never even heard of the movie.
Mr. T.
God, I never heard of Penitentiary 1.
Nope.
So here we go. Who was the oldest WWE World Heavyweight Champion ever?
WW what?
World Heavyweight Champion ever.
WWE or F?
WWE
Okay.
World Heavyweight Champion.
WWE.
WWE World Heavyweight Champion. This individual would also be the oldest WWF
I've got it.
champion.
I think I've got it.
Ric Flair.
Ric Flair from Smokey Z.
Hogan.
You are both incorrect. It is Vince McMahon.
Oh, come on.
Who won the 1992 Royal Rumble, having entered the Rumble at number 3? Was it Stone Cold Steve Austin?
90 what?
1992.
Okay.
Entered the Rumble at number 3. Mm-hmm. Was it Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, or Ricky Steamboat?
Steve Austin.
Smokey Z's pick is in.
92.
He won the Rumble Entering at number 3.
Hogan.
You are both incorrect. It is Ric Flair.
I knew it. Did you see me over here playing tennis with myself there? I was like, what is going on?
Who won the WWF World Heavyweight Championship by defeating Sergeant Slaughter at WrestleMania 7?
Sorry, you're going to have to repeat that question.
Who won the WWF World Heavyweight Championship defeating Sergeant Slaughter at WrestleMania 7?
Was it Hogan?
His pick is in.
I was going to say Hogan.
It is Hulk Hogan.
I remember the poster for that one.
So here we go. Why did Jack Tunney suspend Andre the Giant in 1986?
I don't.
He did not show up for his match.
Right. My brain's hurting.
You guys want to keep going or you want to call it a draw?
No, let's keep going. There's got to be a winner.
I was going to say, I didn't feel like you were going to let it end that way.
You know me better than that.
I do. I knew, and I looked down at the paper, and I was like, Double K is not going to let me end this in a draw. So, I'm just waiting for the page to refresh.
That's what Tommy T says when his brain is taking too much time. He's got to wait for the page to refresh.
Hell, that's every day. I just got to wait for it to reboot. It's like cold starting your car in the winter. It's got to warm up.
We've been doing this all night.
That we have. You're right. It's almost there, folks. It's almost there. I feel like we're gonna have to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get better at the questions for these. We're gonna have to limit the time frame for them so that I can stay within a certain era. To keep everybody on par. When Kurt Angle wrestled Taz for the first time at the Royal Rumble 2000, Taz won. According to Kurt Angle, he was still undefeated because Taz should have been disqualified. What was the reasoning for the disqualification? There's silence in the room again. Kurt Angle claimed...
I don't know that I saw that match, to be honest with you.
I can't tell you if I am or not.
Were you how old?
Think of Taz's finishing maneuver. That's your hint.
Because he choked him.
Yeah, I was literally getting ready to say because he choked him.
Yes, you're both correct. Who was Randy Savage's opponent at SummerSlam 1990? Was it Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Sting, or Dusty Rhodes?
Hogan.
You're both incorrect. It was Dusty Rhodes.
Was it really? In 1990?
That was my second guess, too.
I was just playing a little bit of defense, I'm not going to lie. Because I didn't take a lot of time to think when he said Hogan. I was just saying Hogan just because I was on the fence. So,
during the summer of 1998, Nation of Domination member D'Lo Brown suffered an injury and began undergoing doctor's orders to wear a piece of protective gear during his matches. What was this piece of ring gear?
It's a neck brace?
Smokey Z says a neck brace.
was it like a chest protector?
It was a chest protector, and for the second week in a row, Double K retains as the Wrestle Rewind champion.
Chest protector, I was like, damn. I remember seeing it now.
So, folks, again, this has been another episode of Wrestle Rewind. It's myself, Tommy T. I'm joined by...
Double K. Oh, wait a minute. 2 times, speaking of double. Double champ, double K.
And the last member of our trio,
Smokey Z.
folks, we will see you next week when we cover the results from the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and new developments at AEW. We will see you next week, folks, live once again. Thanks and have a great night.